Welcome to the 10-Day Chef Brand Building Challenge. I'm Chris Hill, and today and throughout the course of the series, I'll be joined by my buddy and fellow entrepreneur, Mr. Sean Winter. Now, he's the founder of The Entrepreneurial Chef, which is an awesome resource for entrepreneurs, especially those in the chef world. He's helped me build my brand, helped me understand business a little bit better, and he'll help provide you with the same. We're going to talk about the things that I've done, both good and bad, and things I wish I would have done differently if I would have known him back in the day. So here we are on day one of the 10-Day Chef Brand Building Challenge with Sean Winter, who's been really helpful with me in getting my brand to where it is now with a lot of the web type of stuff. He's really good with websites, understanding how to position your brand within a website, and maybe he can just explain a little bit about what he's done with Entrepreneurial Chef and the platforms he's using.
Yeah, absolutely. And thrilled to be here and helping you all with this challenge that you have ahead on building your brand. So I think one of the key things is finding what your positioning is. And I know that that's what day one is what is your brand, but finding your positioning and then translating that into reality. And there's a series of steps that you can do for that, that we'll go through and I'll share some of that along the way. But I think that's the biggest thing is, you have to understand what is your positioning, who are you as a brand, and what do you represent, and then from there you start pulling in the elements that are in alignment with that, whatever that core message is. And when you can do that, everything just starts falling into place.
Right, and I think there's two different routes you can go as you really start. Today is the biggest financial commitment, which isn't super large, but it's going to really help you move down the right direction. That's securing a website, securing a domain. When I was first starting out, I was unknown. I didn't have a personal brand built up in the chef world. So I created a company called Bachelor Kitchen, and I figured if I could get enough attention around that by creating an attractive website where I would share recipes and videos and things of that nature, then I could get some people to realize, okay, this Bachelor Kitchen, that's this guy Chef Chris Hill. And from there, I built the Chef Chris Hill brand kind of on top of that. And then I got rid of the Bachelor Kitchen, and now it's all just Chef Chris Hill. But, I first started out back 7-8 years ago when we didn't have all these options like we have now of Weebly or Wix or Squarespace, the drag and drops, which are pretty easy. But way before that, I hired somebody and paid way too much money. And now we have, my website now is a WordPress website, which is really easy to use. It's very customizable. And it's something that I think it's far better than the Weebly website that I had for probably 5 years or so. Sean, maybe you can talk a little bit about the WordPress option, the drag and drop Weebly type websites, and what you think are the pros and cons of each.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a sense of ease and functionality that come along with the Weeblies or the Wix. And I love those for that. So for people that are not very technically savvy, it becomes a lot easier to navigate. However, there are some options, there are some tools that you can find alongside going the WordPress route that can offer that same functionality and ease of use. I like having a WordPress website these days, for especially in the context that we're talking about right now. It makes sense for maybe a personal brand or even a company. There's just a lot of functionality that you can have to it. The Wix and the Weeblies are good, but sometimes it's a little limited. You don't own it free and clear. You're under their server. If you want to maybe migrate and start changing something about your business model, you might have some limitations with some of them. So I think what's key is sometimes when you think about the scalability, where do you believe your brand is going? And what are the potential opportunities in the future with that brand, with whatever it is that you're trying to build? When you can kind of look at it from that standpoint, you want to open yourself to the possibilities that can exist in the future. And for what we did with Chris, and then even for some things that I do, that meant WordPress, because there was just a lot more options. But it'll seem kind of contradictory, but you can absolutely do it with a Weebly. You can do it with Wix. You can keep it simple and then maybe grow later on. So you just kind of figure those pieces out.
And either way, it's going to cost some sort of nominal monthly fee that'll be for your hosting. Is that not right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So, I know that Chris, with working with yourself, and then with some of the things that I do, Bluehost is big. I've used GoDaddy before. We know about iPage. We have, and then even the Wix and the Weebly's. So there's some sort of fee that you have that you're gonna buy this hosting package, and you can start out small. Start out small in the sense that you're not gonna have a whole lot of traffic coming to it. You're not gonna create a website and all of a sudden, like you do, Chris, have 50,000 people, dropping over on the site right away. It's just not gonna happen unless you've got a lot of money to drive traffic, which a lot of times people don't. So you don't have to start off with this big, massive hosting package. You can start very small. Some of them as little as $5 and $10 a month, which is just a very minimal commitment there.
Right, and I know Bluehost also has the one-click WordPress functionality. What exactly does that entail?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you sign up for Bluehost and you go into the back end, you literally install WordPress on whatever domain that you have secured. And when they say it's one click, it truly is a one-click function. And then it installs WordPress on that domain. Now, when you go to that domain, you'll see just the generic WordPress site, and now it's ready to start being customized, essentially. And then that's what I alluded to with some tools. There's some really cool tools out there that can provide a drag and drop functionality like a Wix, like a Weebly, but you have a WordPress shell. So
right.
Bluehost offers a very, very, very quick way to do that.
And then the different themes and also plugins. Like we have a bunch of plugins on my site that also are part of what makes it really unique looking and different.
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of those. And you can search for something called like a drag and drop theme for WordPress, a drag and drop builder for WordPress. And these are little themes or little plugins that you can get, install it onto the site, and now it gives you a nice customizable option.
Well, and I know that if you do use Bluehost, which I think both of us would probably recommend, you're able. They have the functionality where they'll walk you through a tutorial of setting it up. I think all of the links that we have listed below have tutorials and videos on their websites that will help you to set it up, whether it is starting from WordPress or if it's a drag and drop like Weebly or Wix. So, but it's definitely an important step. I think it's big too on committing and saying this is the beginning of a journey for me, and maybe it's having a brand like mine was Bachelor Kitchen. Sean's got Entrepreneurial Chef, or maybe it's Chef so and so, and starting to build that brand name for yourself. Either one, today's the day to get started, and we're excited to help you along on this journey. Sean, any more kind of thoughts on domain hosting, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to point out to everybody that, and Chris, keep me honest. Chris, when you started with Bachelor Kitchen. You had somebody that you paid to create a website, and then you went and you used Weebly for a little while, right? And then now ultimately we got you onto WordPress. That's a little bit more customizable. So you went through an evolution, and now with where you're at and looking back, I think if you would have known now what you wish you would have known then, what you know now, essentially, you would have started off with WordPress and known that you had all these different options, built it out that way. So I think that's a point to really drive home, is that you don't have to use WordPress per se, but it provides a really, really, really good option, and it opens you up to a lot of things that you want to do, and just get started, right? So Chris, you had somebody that created the website, you had somebody that, or you did the Weebly thing, you just got started. So everybody here, I think that's the biggest thing, is you just kind of get started.
Right. And also I think it's important too, something where I made a huge mistake early on, is I gave up control of my website in the early days, meaning that I didn't actually maintain it. I didn't have access to the admin on the back end, and then you can't make changes for yourself. So make sure that hopefully you're doing it yourself, and if you have a little bit of spare time, you can kind of chip away here and there. But make sure that if you have somebody that's even helping you, that you're one of the admins in just as much control as they are.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. And it helps when it's coming off of your credit card, it's in your name.
That's right. That's right.
Otherwise you don't have some control over it. And sometimes when partnerships come, people come together for a partnership, and you can kind of get into a sticky situation, especially if this is going to be your brand name.
Been there, done that, sir.
That's why I mention it.
Yep. Well, Sean, thank you for joining us. We'd love to have you come along for day 2. What do you say?
Absolutely. Let's do it.